Hey, this is Bob Desmond, and I have this Ramirez guitar here, 1972 1A Flamenco. And the customer wants me to put planetary pegs in and get rid of these old friction pegs, which really are difficult always. On the bass side, these stick through about a ½ inch, this one a little more. And on the treble side, they only stick through 5/16 of an inch. So somebody altered the holes on the bass side and they look really weird, as you can see here. In any case, beyond that, he supplied me with two different brands of planetary gears. One is made by a German company, Wittner, and we'll call it Vitner, that's what I think. But if you don't like that, Wittner. And then the other company is an American company, and it's called Pegheads, right there. And I've actually installed Pegheads before, a few years ago, on an exact same guitar on a, come on now, focus. Oh my gosh, what's going on with this thing? Here we go. Okay, yeah, I've installed these Peghead brand on I think a 1963 Ramirez Flamenco, maybe 3 years ago. And so I had this little practice sheet here, this little practice thing. If it will focus, I don't know what's going on with my camera here. There we go, okay. So I had this little practice thing which told me that the reamer should stick out just shy of 1 inch on this side of the wood, this side here. And once I put the reamer in this side, it should stick out this side. And that would give me the proper depth. Of course, I'd start off a little bit shy. These Peghead brand, they screw in. There's a right and a left thread, 3 rights and 3 lefts. And once you get the hang of these things, they're pretty good. They worked. The ratio was 4 to 1. So you turn the knob 4 times, and it goes around, the top part of the shaft goes around once. Now back to the Vitner. I've never used these. These ones are a little fatter and a little shorter. You can see if I take a Peghead and put it beside the Vitner here, you can see they're a little bit different, okay? And, but anyway, let me get rid of that. So the customer really likes the Vitner, and I'm practicing. I noticed that I started off drilling a 5/16 hole in this practice piece of wood. I drilled the hole from this side, and I reamed it in from this side, and it worked well with the reamer sticking out 1 3/8 of an inch. What that means is the reamer would stick out 1 3/8 of an inch beyond this wood in order to give me the proper hole so that the Vitner sticks out this much, which is right where it should be, okay? But I noticed that when I was putting this one in, I pushed hard from this side, and it actually went a little bit further than I wanted. This wood here is pine. Pine's very soft, probably as soft as the cedar that I'll be using on the guitar. This head here, this wood is cedar. So anyway, I decided I won't ream quite as much, so I re-reamed a new hole, and I reamed it at 1 5/16 beyond. So here's the reamer, and basically I would ream it until the tip of the reamer protruded 1 5/16 from this side of the board, and that gave me the right hole that I needed. And okay, so what do I like and what don't I like? Well, I turned these things and they work great. They turn great and everything, so that's nice. The Vitner or Wittner, they do not need glue. You simply push them in. There's some little ridges on the edge here. You simply push them in the properly sized hole, and they just fit in there by friction. So that's kind of nice because you can push them out. You never pull them out. Do not pull them out. If you want to push them out, you push them from this side out the board or out of the head. Push, do not pull, okay? And that's per directions of Vitner. So I like the fact that they just push in. What I don't like is that the hole has to be really perfect. You don't want to go beyond the hole because you're just pushing these things in the hole, and depending on how hard you push, you know, they can go a little further or a little shorter. I don't like that. I like the threaded thing where you turn them and you actually put a little drop of glue, a little drop of super glue is what they recommend on the threads, and you know, you pre-thread the wood to make sure it fits, and then you unthread them, you back them out, and then you put a drop of glue on and screw them in until they stick out exactly where you want, and that's where you leave it. What I like about these is they're threaded in the hole. So it's a little more work, but to me it seems a little more of a secure system. Going back to the Vitner, the ease of installation: drill the right size hole, push the peg in, push it hard because you want it to fit tight in there, and you want to fit it just until that little the shaft part that does not move, right here where my fingernail is, my thumbnail, that part right there should just be seen on the outside or the face side, okay? And that's cool. I like that. That's kind of nice. They're easy to install, but you got to have the right hole. You can't mess up at all. The thing I don't like about these Vitner is the string hole is close to the head, whereas on the Peghead, the string hole is further away from where it would be protruding through the top of the head. So you would have more maybe string room below the hole to gather up the surplus when you tighten up. Whereas here you have very little below the hole, as you can see. You have a lot up above, but I've never put strings up above the hole. I always put them below. So these are my first impressions. I've never used these before, but my first impression is that part I don't like. Okay, so these are made out of some kind of synthetic material, whereas those are the Vitner, and the Pegheads have aluminum shafts. And I'm not sure what these knobs are. Somebody told me they were real ebony, but I noticed that one of these heads came off. I'm going to show you right here. I'm pushing it off because somebody pulled on it. You're not supposed to pull on these unless you're adjusting the tension. But anyway, I'm working this off slowly, trying to hold the camera at the same time. There it goes. You can see that the head on this one, somebody had pulled it off, and basically it's an easy fix. All you need is a little epoxy to put it back on. But that's when I question these knobs. I don't think they're ebony. I think these are some kind of a polymer, some kind of a composite or a synthetic resin or plastic, whatever. But now I'm going to have to glue that back on there because I think the customer wants me to put these on his other Ramirez Flamenco. Okay, the other things, what do I like, what don't I like? I do like the fact that these are longer. They look more traditional because they are long, just like a traditional peg. If you can kind of see, they're the same length. Trying to show you. Whereas the Vitner are a little shorter, a little stubbier. And The other thing I don't like about the Vitner is I have to ream a larger hole for the Vitner, which means if the customer ever wanted to go from the Vitner, let's say he doesn't like them, and he wanted to go from the Vitner to the Peghead, he can't because the hole is too big. So one of the problems with the Vitner is the hole is going to be reamed larger for the Vitner peg, and the hole would have to be reamed a little bit smaller for the Peghead's peg. And once again, don't forget, when you ream for the Peghead, the reamer will stick out 1 inch to get to the right taper, the right size hole. But on the Vitner, I have to ream 1 5/16 or so. So I have to ream 5/16 further, which means these pegs are fatter. And so if I put these on first, he'll never be able to go to these, and he would never be able to go back to normal friction pegs, because these are going to be way too small. So this is what I don't like about the Vitner, okay? I think I'm going to conclude it at that based on the information I have now. I have installed these before, the Pegheads, and they came out fine. I've never installed the Vitner. They're nice, I like them, but those few things I don't like. They're a little shorter. I wish the hole was a little more to the end of the shaft, just a little bit. And the thickness, it's a thicker peg, so I can never go back to these original ones unless I fill the holes and then re-drill. And that's just a pain in the rear end, if that should ever be necessary, or if a future customer should ever want to go back. I don't know why they would, but if they ever wanted to go back to a normal peg. Okay, Bob Desmond signing out, February 6th, 2024. And these are my conclusions and my thoughts and feelings on Vitner versus Peghead. And I may have left some stuff out because I am not an expert at these things, these particular tuners. So forgive me for that, but I think that I'm giving you more information than is currently available on the internet. One last thought. When you do put in the Peghead ones, there's 3 lefts and 3 rights. However, if you want the string to come out to the 6th string and the 1st string, if you want those to wrap on the, let's say on the outside here, a straight shot from the string slot to the tuner, straight shot from the string slot to the tuner, you need to swap these two. So this is the right side over here. You'd have 2 rights and a left, and 2 lefts and a right. And that's the way it works with the Pegheads. Plus, you'd have to turn them in different directions. So these two you'd turn in the same direction. This one you'd turn the opposite direction, and the same over here. Okay, same true there. So that kind of sucks. But the Vitner, all of the pegs are the same. There's no left and no right, and you can turn them either way. And so that's one of the nice things I like about these. Okay, signing out, February 6th, 2024. Thank you.